of contradictions, right? Right? Don't leave me hanging here. We're all a mass of contradictions. And I am afraid, am no different. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you will have watched this channel go from amusing video essay / lifestyle channel where I just chat about my thoughts while trying to fit it around a full-time job to accidentally reading the wrong or maybe the right books and radicalizing myself into a positive panicker. Someone who is fully low-key panicking about the climate crisis at all times, whilst also trying to function like a normal human being and make content about it that people actually want to watch. I'm a sucker for a doomed assignment. However, I'm so grateful for you all being here and listening to me ramble about that. And while I have been rambling about that, you might have noticed something. I wear a lot of red lipstick. In fact, I have been wearing, most of the time, the exact same shade and brand of red lipstick since 2010, when, for a brief moment, this channel was a beauty channel. Bet you didn't know that. My first ever YouTube meetup was with other beauty creators. I'm not kidding. And while that is no longer my lane, I do retain some pretty strong opinions about what makeup I like and what makeup I don't think is worth the money. So it might alarm you to learn that while I have been talking about cruelty-free eyeshadow, zero waste foundation, trying to make, I don't even want to say the word ethical, I want to say the word logical purchases and documenting that process, one product has always evaded me, and that is sustainable red lipstick. So faithful am I to this bloody shade of red. This is Ruby Woo by MAC, which is one of the like really classic colours, stays on all day. It's like all of these celebrities' favourite lipstick. But I've known for a very, very long time that this lipstick is not only not sustainable because it's made out of plastic packaging that, yes, MAC does take back, so you can like swap it. If you get 5 empty ones and then bring them in, they'll give you like 1 free lipstick. It is still plastic packaging that isn't sourced in any amazing way, and I know for a fact that MAC tests on animals. And as somebody who is a half-assed vegan trying to be as good as possible, that's kind of pissing me off. So this is a lipstick I have had for the last 5 years, and I acquired this lipstick because I brought back some of my empties and switched it for this one. So I got this one for free through their take back program, and I have been really delicately eking it out ever since. And I know that's gross. This is not... Don't wear 5-year-old lipstick. That's disgusting. Do as I say, not as I do. However fond of this lipstick that I am, and I am fond of it, let me tell you a few things about it. Among most things, it stays on all day without feeling drying or waxy or sad. It's also in the most unique shade of red, which I think if you're not like an ex-art student and aren't really picky, maybe you don't care, but I deeply care about the blue tone in my red. Like, I want it to be a true red. And that's actually really hard to find on the market. And for some reason, I've got fussy about it. I've got ideas above my station about it. But recently, I've decided 3 things. Drop my lipstick. 1, while contradictions, I think, are inevitable and just part of life and something that we can't always avoid, I think this is a contradiction that I can probably start to shift. Like, I'm a grown-up now, I'm 35. I can afford to go out there and try some new red lipsticks and see what I can find. 2, I think the more I learn about the history of wearing red lipstick and how it is like an act of resistance and how much I love it, and I feel like it gives me a lot of confidence. It feels like it fits on my face. I can't explain it, but I feel like it completes my face, but I've been avoiding wearing it because I've been trying to save my favourite lipstick, which is sad. The irony of it, I don't think I can stand anymore, that it's supposed to be like this symbol of resistance, and yet I'm buying it from my enemies. And thirdly, it occurred to me this might be a really cool opportunity to bring you along on my little fickle journey, because even if you're not somebody who is also a fellow red lipstick lover and is looking, what does this symbol mean? Am I doing... I promise to love my God and serve my queen and country. Even if you're not a big red lipstick enthusiast like me and would also benefit from the results of my investigation of trying to find a vaguely ethical, sustainable red lipstick that actually works and is actually red and not just a variation on orange or pink, then you might be interested in some of the nuances I imagine I'm going to come upon by trying to do this, and the nitty-bitty difficult details of trying to make a sensible purchase in this capitalist hellscape. So I thought I would bring you along for this wild ride. My plan is to pick 3 lipsticks that I have a suspicion might work, all having different credentials from different companies. Try wearing each one every single day for a week. Excuse to wear red lipstick every day. Yes, please. And then report back my findings. So I'm going to go over there to my laptop and I'm going to order the one that's only available online. Ordered. And then I might pop into London and see what I can find on the shelves. So I'm in London for work, and before I go home, I thought I would take this opportunity to track down my first victim, my first possible saviour, the one that's going to change everything. So come with me to Covent Garden. I have Ruby Woo with me so I can compare it in the shop. Let's hope this is a one and done, right? The sun's out, so it should be very easy to compare colours. Let's see what happens. Oh, I like my boys playing hard to get, and I like my men all incompetent. Welcome to Covent Garden, where all the fancy people shop. Surely, if anyone has the worthwhile lipstick that's also sustainable, it's got to be the fancy people, right? Let's give it a go. After a lot of swatching, I think I've got what could be the goods. I'll only really know when I get home, but I did swatch it against Ruby Woo and it looked, 2 of them looked promising. Oh. Maybe it's useless, but there's a cuter word for it. I know. Time to report back on my first experiment. This one is with the ILIA lip crayon. To me, this was the most obviously sustainable because it's just made out of wood, right? It doesn't have any other packaging. There's the lid, which is recyclable, and this wooden pencil, which is supposedly made out of sustainably sourced wood, although I have emailed them to ask for the credentials for where it, like how they prove it's sustainable, and they were like, we'll get back to you, and it's now been 12 days, so we'll check back in on that. But it is biodegradable, like all wood is biodegradable. So of all the lip products I'm testing, this one just practically seems to be the most sustainable. It's also really, really light to carry around because of the wood element. You barely feel it in your pocket. It's something you can just like slip into your bag way easier than a normal lipstick. I really like that about it because I'm somebody who likes to bring my lip thing everywhere and top up. I was worried that this would feel a little bit like a lip liner in like the actual product, but it genuinely just feels like any other lipstick when it's on my lips, but also really easy to apply because it has the precision of a lip liner. So I really like that. For wear, it was a bit of a mystery because it is very transfery. Like this is me just one sip of my tea, and that is like way more than the Ruby Woo one would be. But weirdly, it doesn't wear off. Like it's got really good staying power as well. So I'm like, where is the stuff going? I don't understand, but I like it. It did also have a lot of transfer on Craig. Whenever I kissed Craig, he got his red lips red as well. So that's kind of like a bit more annoying than the Ruby Woo. But like I said at the beginning of the video, the aim isn't for the lip product to be permanently on your lips because I think that would be suspicious. Like what is in it if they manage to keep it on your lips all day with like no transfer? And another thing I liked about the longevity is that usually when you wear a lot of red lipstick, it just wears like here usually and not around the edges. And if you've got a big bullet lipstick, it's hard to just top up the inner bit without getting the outer bit as well and then getting loads of build up on the outside. So this is really easy to top up literally just in the spots where it had worn off and not catch like your whole lips in the process. The downsides are few, to be honest. I really enjoyed using this. I think I'm gonna miss it next week almost. But I think the downsides are it's slightly darker than Ruby Woo. Like it doesn't quite have the punch red that Ruby Woo does. So I really like the colour. I think it's a bit more mature than Ruby Woo, and I've got used to it, and I really like it. I also got the most compliments ever on a reel I did this week where I wore it, and people don't usually comment on my lip colour at all, and I got 3 or 4 people being like, what's the lip colour? So that was interesting that they could tell. And then also the other thing to note that I don't think bothers me, but might bother you, is that I did have to sharpen it like 3 times in the week. So if you're traveling with it, you have to bring a sharpener as well, and that might be annoying for you. I think it's quite a fun activity, makes me feel like I'm at school. And I didn't have to buy a special sharpener for it. It does just fit in normal like makeup sharpeners. The ones that have the jewel hole. I'm never gonna say jewel hole on this channel again. I'm already regretting it, actually. Anyway, that's it for this week. Next week, I am going to be trying this, the GENSEE lipstick in Irene. So let's see how that goes.
Hey man, oh I like my boys playing hard to get, and I like my men all incompetent, and I swear they choose me, I'm not choosing them, amen. Hey man, man child, why you always come running on me, for my life, won't you let an innocent woman be?
So this week, I have been trying out the colour Irene by GENSEE. GENSEE are very much marketed as a sustainable brand. However, they don't have any refillable products, but they are really meticulous about where the materials that like they use for the packaging come from, and they really like spell it out under all the different products. So that's really cool. They're vegan and cruelty free and all the things I want. It's just that it's still new packaging, and they have really good instructions on how to recycle it in the US, but they don't really have any instructions on how to recycle it in the UK. So I will see if it is recyclable and report back to you at the end of the video, but that's how I'm feeling about that right now. GENSEE did actually send me some makeup a while ago that I never talked about on the internet because I feel like I'm still trying it, you know what I mean? But this is, I didn't like all the products, but this is one that I loved, which is a different shade of this lipstick. This is called Margaret, and it looks like this. Much more plain, but very, very nice formula. And to me, this one didn't wear off that much. So I was like, okay, let's give it a go. However, if I hadn't tried that lipstick before and I got Irene, I would have felt like it was quite waxy and maybe given up on it. Like the feeling of it is quite waxy. And I think that is because it's new. And once I had worn it for like 4 days, it started feeling like my Margaret. And it felt much more comfortable. Let me just put it on for you. Now, there are lots of things I liked about this lipstick, and I think there's something complicated going on when it comes to what you want from a lipstick, if you want to get granular. This had way less transfer. So like if I was drinking from a cup or a glass or I gave Craig little, it didn't come off as much on other external objects around me. However, it didn't last anyway as long as the ILIA lip pencil, which confuses me. Because in theory, if it's not going other places, it should still be on your lips, but it just seemed to fade quite fast. Like, look, that's the transfer, not very much, but it didn't have that lasting power. It was really comfortable to wear after day 4. I think maybe just the top layer of the lipstick is just waxier than the rest of it. And the only thing that made me think, I don't think this is going to be like a happy dupe for Ruby Woo for me, is that it is quite pink. Like if you wear it for a while, when it first comes out the bullet, you're like, wow, that is a true red. And the more you wear it throughout the day, the pinker it looks, and the shadow of it has like a pink undertone. And I really just want like a pillar box, like blue toned red, like a true red. And while this is really pretty and like definitely the brightest of the bunch, and I'll totally use it up, I think it's fun, I didn't feel as warmly towards it as I did the lip pencil, and I definitely didn't get as many compliments as either. Like people weren't as wowed by this one, whereas the other one, like people just go mad for. I don't know what it is. So yeah, a subtle difference to some, but to me, this is definitely like a pinky red rather than a true red. Now, let's try our final lipstick.
Why so sexy, you so dumb, and how survive the earth so long if I'm not there
We've tried a lipstick that is made out of biodegradable material. We have tried a lipstick that is made out of recycled plastic. This week, I tried a lipstick that is completely refillable. Now, this isn't my first rodeo, and I have tried refillable lipsticks before, but they've generally been from brands who aren't that familiar with how to do formulations of lipstick. And while the packaging has been pretty smart, the actual lipstick left a lot to be desired. So I was really excited to try a refillable lipstick from an actual makeup expert, Lisa Eldridge. If you haven't seen her on YouTube yet, she is something of like what Liza Minnelli is to the musical theatre kids, Lisa Eldridge is to the makeup geeks. She's historically done a lot of the red carpet looks, like she's historically done all of Kate Winslet's looks and that kind of thing. So she really knows what she's talking about, and she started a makeup brand a while ago and is not only a bit of a complete nerd when it comes to vintage lipstick, she has also recently become a huge stickler for sustainability, which I'm very excited about. And this is like her first foray into that. So the way this works is that this is the refillable component. It's completely made out of aluminium. A lot of other refillable lipsticks, like this thing, you still need to throw away. It usually still has plastic parts in it, and you like, while this part you can keep, this part you can throw away. But this seems to be, from what I can tell and what they claim, to be the only refillable lipstick that is genuinely recyclable, because it's only made up of one type of material, which is very universally recycled, aluminium. You just click the component in like that, and you pop the top on. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. One thing to note though is that you have to buy the component and the case, and the cost of the case is about the cost of a lipstick. I've already tried this formulation before. This is a nude colour I tried, so I knew that I would like it, and for the purposes of this video, I did buy the case. But it is to be noted that if you would like to try it without investing in the case, you totally can. It comes with a little cap like that, and you can just carry it around. I would actually advise doing that before you invest in this, because you might not like it, and then this would be a waste, and then what's the point in chasing sustainability? You know what I mean? So the biggest contender to replace Ruby Woo for me was her most famous colour, Ribbon. I was actually worried from the pictures that this was going to be further away from matte on the scale of matte to shiny than it actually is. It's not a matte lipstick. It does have a slight sheen to it, but it still feels in my comfort zone as a matte addict. Tone-wise, it still doesn't have the perfect blue undertone of the Ruby Woo that I love, but much less of a pinky undertone than the GENSEE, and it had the vibrancy that I think the case study by ILIA lacked a little bit. Like, we are getting so close. This one still has like a lot of transfer, which I think is just something I'm going to have to reconcile with. Like, that's just the life of a lipstick lover. But it did last a really long time, especially if I put some on, dab the moisture out, put another layer on, then I felt like it stayed really, really well. So I was happy with that. And it's really pigmented. Like, you just need like 1 or 2 swipes and it's pretty bam, right out the bullet. So I had a really good time with, I don't actually have any complaints about this one. My only thing that I could think of it being annoying is that it's like quite heavy, because it's supposed to be like a luxurious vintage style lipstick. But honestly, that also resulted in me not losing it as often, because I could always feel where it was in my pockets or in my bag, whereas all the other ones I've tried are pretty light and didn't end up being left in pockets and then lost for a few hours every now and then. Just saying. So, after some very pleasing experiments, it's time to reflect on the results. Well, it has been a journey. A lot of time has been sunk into this research, but was it worth it? Can I finally replace my beautiful, coveted, cult-like, blessing turned curse Ruby Woo by MAC with something a little bit more in line with my ethics, a little bit less ironic? I'm not going for a complete lack of irony when it comes to a rebellious red lipstick, but I just want it to be less so. Before making my decision, I tried on all 3 lipsticks that are my potential replacements on this side of my lips this morning, and MAC Ruby Woo on this side of my lips, and you can see from the footage how close we have got. There are some damn good contenders in there. If I do say so myself, I think I chose well when it came to my replacement audition. And the 3 that I chose were through a hell of a lot of research, but also because they do have some very baseline stuff in common. For example, they're all around the same price and the same price as the MAC. They are all vegan and cruelty-free. However, there are some slight discrepancies when it comes to the companies. Of the three, GENSEE is the only 100% vegan brand. ILIA offers a mix of vegan and non-vegan product, and Lisa Eldridge is almost so close to being a vegan brand. They just have 2 formulations of lipsticks that have a little bit of beeswax in them and one colour of one lip liner that isn't vegan. But all 3 of the actual products that I have bought are vegan. When it comes to the cruelty-free thing, there is as well a little bit of an imperfection in that ILIA are owned by Crayon, who do test on animals. So that takes a sandwich out of its picnic, to say the least. However, before I announce my final decision, I'll go through some quick pros and cons of each one now that I have used them all for at least a week and reflected, had some distance from my findings. The pros of the ILIA one. Let's start with those. From a layman's perspective, I think that a pencil made out of wood, a famously biodegradable material, is the most obvious vessel for a lipstick, and also lip liner. It enrages me when brands sell stuff in plastic I'm literally like, are we reinventing the wheel or reinventing the pencil? So it's unusual to find a lipstick formula in a pencil, but I think just like on a very basic level, it feels like the most obvious choice for like future lipstick vessels. And I have to hand it to them. ILIA did actually eventually reply to me 7 days after my inquiry, not only assuring me that the wood was certified, PEFC certified, in fact, they also sent me their certificate, which is more thorough than I was expecting, but I really appreciated that. I was shocked. But I enjoy having that in my inbox, sure. I also love how idiot-proof this is to apply. If you're somebody who is not that experienced in applying lipstick, it's really cool. And even if you are experienced in applying lipstick, but you don't really fancy concentrating that much, like me, love that. I love the application of this and that it kind of doubles as a lip liner. And lastly, I really like the deep colour of this one. I got the most compliments while wearing it, and I wear a lot of red lipstick, so the fact that people bother to comment on it is an accolade in itself. I think the staying power of this was probably the best out of all 3, even though it was also super transfery. I don't make the facts, I just observe them. So there were lots of things to love about the ILIA lip crayon. Of course, a con is that it has a parent company called Crayon, who say they are cruelty-free, but are willing to test on animals to sell in certain territories that require it. So that speaks volumes, and cruelty-free kitty say that they're not cruelty-free. So I'd go with that judgment. Then don't seem to be making much effort with their other packaging. This Crayon came out a long time ago, and since then they have released like a lot of plastic packaging stuff and don't seem to be enthusiastic about refillables or making any other products in this material. So like there's that when it comes to direction. And then thirdly, the other con I could think of is that sharpening it could become annoying. I don't personally find it annoying. I actually quite like it. It's a nice little classroom nostalgic experience for me, but I can imagine that being a hassle for other people, but definitely not a deal breaker for me. The GENSEE one, I really like the per product transparency on their website. For each product, they break down exactly like what is in it, what is in the packaging, how it is made, how you might recycle it at the end of its life. And there are a lot of recycled plastic products, or at least partially recycled plastic products on their website. However, is coming in the cons section. It definitely had the least transfer of all the lipsticks. And inarguably, when I look back at this footage, even though it didn't feel like that when I was trying it on, it is probably technically the closest match to Ruby Woo. I mean, look at this footage. It is like, it's pretty damn close. Cons, however, it doesn't last very long, which is weird because the transfer isn't very much. You see what I mean? I don't know where the lipstick's going, presumably in my digestive system, but I just didn't, of all of them, it didn't last as long as I was hoping, and it required a lot of maintenance and top-ups. A con is that while a lot of their packaging is recycled. This specific packaging is not in any way recycled. I don't really understand how this product is sustainable, because when I actually started digging into it, I realized that it is 100% new plastic, but they do note that it's a mono material, so it's designed to be easily recyclable, including all the inner workings of it as well, and it also doesn't contain a magnet, which is inherently unrecyclable. So that's good to know. The other con is that, honestly, I just don't like the packaging. And I think that it's important to really like the stuff that you buy, because that is like the one reason that you're going to actually use it and enjoy it and use it up till the end. I think that I wanted to excuse how light and cheap it felt, because I thought that that was something to do with the fact that it was recycled plastic. But it's not. It's new plastic. It just feels like the kind of packaging that I would have bought for like £3 in Miss Sporty in like 2001. You know what I mean? Like it's giving my first lipstick. The twist is also really awkward. Like it doesn't just like flow up. It's like a The fact that it costs the same as a lot of the other stuff on the market is like random, considering the quality of both the inner and the outer. Lisa Eldridge. Oh man, I do like a good trustworthy founder. So I think that that is something to note. Not only does Lisa Eldridge's company not have a parent company, to be fair, neither does GENSEE. They don't have a parent company either. But they kind of do, like, I don't know if I've been stung by the wild debacle that you might have seen on my channel, link up here. But like they do look rife for a takeover. I don't know why, they're just giving me that vibe. Lisa Eldridge is not only doesn't have a parent company, she is so involved with this company and so invested in it and so protective over it that I just can't see her as a person selling to Unilever. I just feel like she genuinely loves being the boss of that thing and will probably only give over the steering wheel at like pain of death. Like that's the vibe that I, obviously is parasocial, but that is the vibe that I get from her YouTube channel. She is protective, and I think that that is, we need more stubborn, geeky experts in the consumer world. It also sounds like she was very stubborn when it came to the sustainable design of this. It doesn't feel like lip service to refillable packaging. She's not like releasing any other vessels in like limited edition shades or colors. Like this is it. You can also get your package engraved if you want with your initials, like signifying again, like you keep this, this is yours for life, like in the way that we used to, modeled on vintage packaging. And then also she even like went to the recycling centers where this inner part would be recycled and like quizzed them on all the things that might go wrong recycling it. And she found out that actually they can't recycle pure aluminium unless it's in like a large quantity. So she advises you to wrap this up in your aluminium cooking sheets when you recycle it, because she's even honest, she's like, this is the best that we can do, but it won't be recycled if you don't put it in something bigger. So I respect that honesty and the grind and the fact that she actually went to the recycling centres to ask. And I also just feel like from a packaging perspective and like using the actual product perspective, it was just like a goddamn pleasure. Like such a nice experience, something that I would definitely use to the nub, and something that I like so much, and it's so heavy it'd be very hard to lose it. Cons, obviously this part does not come with this part, so you do have to spend the cost of a lipstick on this part alone. However, because this part isn't essential to you trying the product or carrying around and using the product, I don't know how much of a con that is. There aren't any other refillable products on her website yet, although this is one of her newest releases and she seems really, really invested in it. It keeps coming out with new colours and stuff. So I hope that there are more refillable products on the horizon. And then I've just written, I genuinely can't think of a third. Like I don't have a third con. I'm not going to artificially put one in there for you. I just couldn't think of a third con. So drum roll, please. That was a really pathetic drum roll. That's what my knitting needles are for. Lisa's got to have it. It's. I think the fact that I couldn't think of a third con speaks volumes. But I'm really impressed with this lipstick. And while I'm obviously going to use all three of these up, and I'm not completely against buying this one again, although the parent company thing does bug me, I think this is probably my reason to not keep going back and buying Ruby Woo. Like if I'm tempted and I'm walking into the shop and I think about the fact that I have this in my pocket, I think that will genuinely deter me. It's a close enough experience swap that I am personally happy with it. And as I intend to wear red lipstick for another how long am I going to live? Oh, I don't want to ask this question right now. 50 years? Is that optimistic? For a climate channel, I'm very optimistic about my future. Then I think the time and the energy and the money spent trying these 3 products to find the one that I can just keep buying. Hopefully, Lisa, don't stop selling it. I'm warning you, don't stop. That I can just keep buying forever. Definitely a worthwhile experiment when it's such like a key part of my makeup bag. This would not be a Lean and Ons video without some closing learnings. Firstly, you don't need to look for a fully sustainably marketed brand to find the most sustainable option. GENSEE is arguably the most sustainably branded of all of these 3 products, but I actually think the other 2 products do a lot more when it comes to thoughtful sustainability. Do not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. We don't have time for excess enemies. We already have like Mark Zuckerberg and Unilever. We simply don't have time to only buy from completely perfect people. Number 2, your preferences aren't set. I went into this being like, the thing I love about Ruby Woo is how matte it is. And actually I came out loving probably the least matte of all of these options. You can discover new favorites when you let go of old ones. And I think thinking, oh, I have to buy this product because I have to have this element of the product can limit not only how sustainable you can be, but also your joy. And I like joy, don't you? And then thirdly, don't deprive yourself of what you really genuinely love and will use. Ironically, me trying to save up this old lipstick and only use it occasionally and sparingly every now and then stopped me wearing red lipstick every day. And since doing this experiment and wearing red lipstick every day, I was like, yeah, this should be the default. I should have a reason to not wear red lipstick on a day. Not like, whoa, why should I wear it today? What's my excuse? At the end of the day, lipstick is closer to a food product than it is to a piece of clothing. Like, this stuff expires. And I don't know if you've ever tried to use up a whole lipstick, but it takes a freaking long time. So just like with food waste and cosmetic waste, making sure you buy something that you use the whole way through and love enough that you don't lose or try and like rebuy in a different ilk to try and like satiate your need for satisfaction is a very, very worthwhile endeavour. Thank you so much for watching this absolutely unhinged deep dive into a product that probably nobody else is thinking about. Like I am, was made possible by the Gumption Club, who join me over on Patreon, where they support the channel and can enjoy things like an exclusive Discord, weekly podcast episodes, of which I think there are over 140 at this point, early access to videos and loads of other stuff. They're also the reason that there wasn't a sponsor for this video, and the fact that I can just honestly buy and talk about all these products with my own money and be really honest about them and not worry about like upsetting future spawns or anything, because I think it's more useful for everybody if we can just be honest about the products we're using rather than trying to reel in what we're saying as creators in the fear of displeasing the consumer overlords. Let me know in the comments if you are a fan of red lipstick, or if you have like a red lipstick equivalent in your life. Like, what is like a thing that you're like, I love this so much, but I would really like it to be better. Let me know in the comments below. Potentially we can use our hive minds to find solutions for each other on more sustainable choices. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, I reckon you might like one of these videos. Frog Snog out.